So the green card is a two-step process. The first one, you need to get an approved I-140 or an I-130 if you're in family process. But then you need to get the actual green card. And there's two paths for that, either consular processing or adjustment of status. What are the key differences here?
So the first thing to understand is that these are decided by two different agencies. So the adjustment of status, which happens in the United States, you file your application with USCIS, and it's USCIS that makes the decision whether to grant the green card or request more evidence or deny the green card. If you are doing consular processing, it's actually the Department of State. Why is that important? That is important because they have different ways of looking into these petitions, and they also have different requirements.
Okay. So in which situations can I apply for consular processing, and each one's can I do adjustment of status?
So if you're outside the United States and you filed for your I-140 gets approved, you have to go through the consular processing. You're not in the United States, you're not eligible for adjustment of status. In that case, the whole process will go through the consulate. You have to follow their rules and ultimately appear for an interview, for your immigrant interview at the consulate.
Okay. What about if I'm in the U.S.?
So if you're inside the United States, you have the option to file your adjustment of status or green card application with USCIS. In addition to the green card application, you can also file an application for work authorization and application for a travel permit or advance parole.
Yeah, and you need travel permit because if you're doing adjustment of status, you cannot really leave the U.S. until you get the green card, except you have an H-1B or an O-1.
Correct. Yes. So, for example, if you, let's say, or you had an H-1B, but that H-1B expired, and your adjustment of status is pending, you will need a travel permit if you want to leave the United States. What happens if you leave the United States before your travel permit is approved? The adjustment of status application will be abandoned. So in these cases, usually, you have to, when we talk to clients, you kind of have to see whether, what is their travel history, whether, they can stay in the United States for a few months or more than a few months to wait for that travel permit. And if that's something that they cannot do and they have to travel, then maybe a consular processing will be a better option. So it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. Another thing is that when you submit the adjustment of status, you actually get the authorization to stay in the country, even though your previous visa might be expired.
Yeah, so every time you have a adjustment of status application pending, and your visa or status expired, you have the right to stay in the United States legally until USCIS makes a decision on your adjustment of status or green card application.
But you won't be able to work until you get the work permit.
Yes, you have to wait to get your work permit, which usually right now it's on average is about 3 months, but this changes all the time. So, but for right now it's about 3 months from filing.
Yeah. So essentially, if you're outside of the US, there's no questions, you need to go consular. If you're in the US, you can choose. If you go consular, the good thing is that you're not going to be trapped in the US, you're going to be able to travel, but that won't give you any immigration status, so you will need to keep your visa current, and then you won't be able to get these other things such as the work authorization for you or your dependents until you get the green card.